All right, welcome everybody to the stream. Hope everybody's having a fantastic day. We are sitting in San Francisco, Sierra Foxtrot Oscar, and we are going to be flying up to Seattle Tacoma, Sierra India Alpha. We're going to be going over some nice Fork Boy ortho scenery on the way up there, and then of course ORBX recent release of True North Washington, I believe it's called. We will have that to look forward to on our descent into San Francisco. I'm sitting here at the gate, Charlie 55. Oh no, I'm sorry. Is it 55? Yeah, it's 55. And I want to do one thing. I mentioned it before. If you're having flight or any issues with your frame rates, open your task manager when you launch the Flight Factor A320 and Xplane, and close that second CEF render. It always seems to load two of them. It does help me increase frames by shutting that off. So I'm just doing that real quick here, and then we're going to get started. All right, we should be good to go. Hop into the cockpit here. And hello everybody, I'm just catching up some of the comments there. It's great to see everybody tuning in already. Awesome. Very cool. Quite a few of you guys on this morning. It's always nice. Howdy there, Dylan. Alright. Let's get the show on the road, shall we? I've got the aircraft sitting on ground power. We're sitting here at the gate, so let's go ahead and go through our flows. We're going to come here, start at the bottom. Cruise supply comes on. We turn that ground control push button on if we could. Let's go ahead and get these 8 ears lined up. 1, 2, and 3. All reverting to battery and back off. In the Flight Factor, we can do a proper fire test here, so I'm going to go ahead and press and hold. I got my lights up there. ECAM, master caution. Cool. We'll do the same thing for engine 2. And the fire lights, very good. And of course the APU. Very cool. Alright. That's good. Coming down. So we'll leave the APU off for a minute. Let's get. Alright. I've got my iPad charging for my charts, so I'm gonna just go ahead and pull up the frequencies here real quick. In SFO for clearance delivery. Clearance delivery is 18.2. We are connected with Pilot Edge this morning. Let's go ahead and make sure we have enough fuel as well before we get that. Sim is gorgeous. Thank you, Flight Sim Boy. I'm running a second monitor, guys, for the first time today for the comments. So I apologize if I miss some of your comments. I'm not really used to looking over to that second screen and seeing the comments pop up. I'm gonna really try to get to everybody's comment. But if I skip over you, it's not intentional. I do apologize. Show us your Xplane 11 settings. Sure, we can do that. Let me do it real quick here, and then we'll get on the road here. Settings. So right now this is what I'm running for graphics. I've got HDR, maximum no compression. Well, you can see that there. So this is what I'm running for the settings. This reflection detail, when I'm not streaming, I can crank it up. Right now, you guys probably seen I'm running the i9 processor now, but I don't have it overclocked yet. So I'm running everything baseline. I'm just trying to get a base run with everything normal, and then I'll get into overclocking and stuff like that. But those are the settings. Alright, fuel, we get that off there. Let's look at our performance. Let's fill this puppy up today, huh? Why don't we take a fully loaded 320 up to Seattle? Alright, fuel we are going to need. Like 1166.
Retard.
Hey! Thank you for the subscribe there, Dougal. Isn't APU fire first? Dylan, actually, we have the, it's kind of the first guy to get to the aircraft. Typically, the first officer will come on down, and he'll go ahead and do an APU fire test when he gets to the aircraft and either start up the APU or do ground power. So, sometimes we do the fire test first. It just kind of hit or miss, really. Like I said, it's kind of the first officer's job when he gets down before he does the rock around. He does the originating flow, kind of gets the cockpit organized, and the APU fire check is one of his items. Okay, I'm gonna set that. Everything looks good. All right, let's call clearance, and then we'll pick up or then we'll go ahead and input the flight plan. Do I play at 1080p? Yes, I do. BlueMac RTX 28 struggles with the settings. Interesting. I wonder if you got something running in the background. Maybe check like Windows Defender settings. When we get up into cruise, guys, I'm gonna kind of go quick here on the ground. We'll get up into cruise. I chose a little bit longer route today, so when we're in cruise, we can talk a little bit more about settings and stuff because the last stream was pretty rushed. But all right, let's call clearance here real quick. Actually, it helps if I pull up.
Delta 1741, contact Salt Lake Center 135.77. Good day.
San Francisco clearance. Good morning, American 412 going to Seattle.
0.72 is correct frequency. 128.72. I think I may have stepped on somebody. Was another aircraft calling?
Yeah, sorry about that. It's American 412 looking to get our IFR up to Seattle from San Francisco.
American 412. I don't see anything on file. Could you resend for me?
Yeah, we'll resend it.
Delta 1741 Salt Lake Center. Climb and maintain. Flight level 380.
Well, I will figure this
clearance,
this Pilot Edge flight plan thing out here pretty soon. I promise you guys. Maybe I'll get my dispatcher license while I'm at it here.
I'm ready to copy. 737 Mike Charlie.
I think what's throwing me off is they have, like, when you file on Pilot Edge, it says aircraft identification. So I always put the N number, the registration, I guess, but that's not what they want. They want your call sign in the identification box. But that's not a problem. Let's go ahead and refile here.
Direct Moxie, that's Mike Oscar X-ray Echo Echo. Direct Portal, that's Papa Oscar Romeo Tango Lima.
Alright, we got this filed already. We'll go call again here in a second.
Via the SIDS, departure frequency 1.
Greetings from Vancouver, Dimitri. Nice to see you again.
And squawk 6203.
Alright, for
yeah,
Charlie,
Dylan, rain repellent in off on this thing. Hopefully, I didn't even check the weather. Hopefully we're not doing like a Cat 3 Autoland in Seattle. I know in the sim when we do our recurrent, we're always up in Seattle doing Cat 3 Autolands. That's where, if you're going to get an Autoland, typically it's going to be up there. I didn't even check the weather. Like I said, I'm not really good at this dispatcher stuff.
Actually, where are you parked?
We're going to be at the northwest ramp.
I guess while they're talking, we can do some stuff here in the box.
Northwest ramp, you can expect runway 16 right for departure.
16 right, via departure, 737 Mike Charlie, thank you.
And clearance, it's American 412 again. We refiled, looking to pick up IFR to Seattle.
American 412, I have it now. Just give me a second, I'll be right back with you.
Roger.
American 412 cleared to the Seattle Tacoma International Airport, truck and 2 departure, deadhead transition, then as filed. Climb via the SID, except maintain 10,000, the departure frequency 135.4, squawk 6441.
Alright, we're cleared to Seattle, truck and departure, deadhead transition as filed, climb via the SID, maintain 10,000, expect, or then this, Yeah, 10,000. 35.4 on departure, squawk 6441, American 412.
American 412, feedback is correct information. Charlie is current. You can expect runway 1 left for departure.
All right, we have Charlie, and we'll expect 1 left, American 412. Thank you. Yeah, I got that. Normally they give you in your clearance, it says climb maintain 10,000, expect 360 in 10 minutes, so close enough, close enough. If you guys, do you guys know, I'm asking you now, is the Pilot Edge, are these controllers real controllers? Because a lot of them sound really good. I don't know myself, so I'm asking you guys if you know a little bit of background on the Pilot Edge and how they, what their background is. Alright, so we're going off of 1 left for departure, trucking 2. Deadhead transition. Let's go ahead and do this the right way here. Make these screens a little bit better for you. Alright, there we go, trucking 2, a deadhead transition. Then we're going to Romeo Bravo Lima. Lima Mike Tango. So when you pull up, this is a good point when we talk about this here, when you pull up fix with duplicate names, you don't know which one you're using, more often than not it's going to be the closer one, which will be listed at the top, but sometimes it may not be, so you want to make sure you know which, in this case, Lima Mike Tango fix you're selecting. We know this one's 274, that's where we're going. We're not going to go 5,000 miles for the next one, so just keep an eye on that. After Lima Mike Tango, then we are going into the Hawks 7 RNAV, so I'm going to go ahead and insert that. Arrival. I'm going to just put 16 center in there for now. We can change it if we need to. And I should probably, this is where I need to look at my chart here. Let's go ahead and insert it. I don't have a transition yet. I actually need to pull up my Hawks arrival. There's the discon there. There might be some fixes between LMT and Hawks, so once I get my iPad off the charger, we'll look at that. Everything else looks good. Cool. Insert that. Oh, that looks good right now. We got a little bit longer in cruise, so we can modify that as necessary. Alright, let's load up our secondary. We're just going to come right back around to runway. Taking off 1 left, huh? Just trying to see what runway I want to come back onto. We'll go ahead and put the ILS-28 right in here for a return. This is just emergency. Let's see, I gotta pick up information Charlie, which I also learned on Pilot Edge. They actually produce a ATIS for you, so 1805. Let's go ahead and
San Francisco INTL information with that.
that's not right. Oh, wait, what was that?
San Francisco INTL information with that. 1500 Zulu weather.
Real controllers, mostly not. Alright, cool.
Visibility.
Yeah, some of them
Sky conditions.
sound real good.
Temperature 14. Dew point 10. Altimeter 3002. Arriving runways 28 left, 28 right. Departing runways 28 left, 28 right, 01 right, 01 left. Advise on initial contact you have with them.
Well, let's see. Okay, I finally got my actual charts up now.
San Francisco.
Digital ATIS, Let's try 15.8. Let's see if that's what they're talking on. Nope, that won't work. That's 15. 1885. That sounds better. Can't tune 15.
28 left, 28 right. Departing runways
Here we
1
go.
left, 1 right. Simultaneous charted visual flight procedures in use. VFR departures, contact clearance delivery, advise on course heading, altitude, and if flight following is requested. Read back all runway assignments and hold short instructions. Advise on initial contact. You have information, Charlie.
Alright, we got Charlie. We're expecting 1 left. I just want to get the
San
altimeters.
Francisco International Airport. 8 to information, Charlie. 1556 Zulu. Wind 310 at 7. Visibility 8. Few clouds at 500. Temperature 17. Dew point 11. Altimeter 3001. Arriving runways 28 left.
Alright, I'll
28
take
right.
care of that.
Dipping runways 1
So
left, 1 right.
I seem a little bit out of my element when we're doing this ATIS thing, because in the real aircraft we just go ahead and we send it for ACARS. So I haven't actually listened and copied an ATIS down in several years now, unless of course you go to an airport that doesn't have ACARS. But yeah, we just send off weather request, boom, it prints the whole ATIS for you, all your NOTAMs, much easier, and then we just print it out and put it right in the cockpit. Oops. We put it right in the cockpit right here on this little panel so we can see it and don't have to worry about tuning frequencies and all that. Makes it much easier than doing this old school. But 3001, and since we're just doing a return back, we're going to do a DH200 because I don't want to look up the minimums. That's in the secondary. Alright, nothing to hard tune. Initialization page B. Let's take a look at this here. We'll go like this. Zero fuel weight is 59.6. Right there, zero fuel weight CG is 27.7. Oh, this brings up a point. Dylan, sorry, I keep forgetting. Mr. Dillon. Mr. Dillon is a fellow Airbus pilot as well. And have you ever seen this zero fuel weight and zero fuel weight CG reversed? Because I know on the toll list they've got the CG on the left side and the zero fuel weight on the right side. And anytime I go to input the information, I always start putting it in backwards because I've never personally seen it flipped. I've always seen the zero fuel weight first and then the CG. But let me know if that's just something that maybe we haven't been exposed to yet. All right, we're gonna go off 1 left. Use keyboard instead of typing these. Yeah, I know, I should. Let's try that. I normally do. I don't know why I wasn't doing that before. Dimitri, thank you for the demotion. The donation. Appreciate it, man. Appreciate the donations, man. I really do. You guys are, like I always say, you are the backbone of this channel, and I reinvest everything that you guys put out so I can make better content for you. So I really appreciate that. Thank you, Dimitri. Alright, so we got 1 left in there. And perf data. Let's go ahead and... what are they calling for? We're going to change this up here. We're going to go 147, 151, 152, flaps 1. And we're going to do a flex of 55. Alright. Cool, so our box is pretty much set up here. Let me look at our chart. Over here. Pulling up my chart on the second screen here. I'm getting used to this, I apologize.
Delta 1741 radar contact lost.
Trucking to RNAV. 1 left. Alright, we got that ready. And let's go ahead and fire up the APU. They give us an initial altitude of 10,000 feet. We've got our fuel on board. Let's go ahead and get our pumps on. Wait for our flap avail indication.
Reno ground, Phenom 737 Mike Charlie with information. Charlie ready to taxi, IFR departure to the north.
Boomac just got the BSS a couple days ago. Heck yes, man. It is a game changer, let me tell you.
Cross runway 7 at Alpha.
It is a game changer, no doubt about it.
And Reno ground 737 Mike Charlie, 16 right via Alpha, cross runway 7 at Alpha.
Listen to that wonderful APU spin up. We are using the Flight Factor MATAVIA mod, so if you guys think this aircraft looks a little bit different than yours, I am running the MATAVIA mod. I believe I put a link in the description. If not, I will do it after this video closes. Unless one of you guys want to post it in there. But the MATAVIA mod is a game changer. I personally believe that. Alright, let's start this. Nope. Nope. What do I want? Service. That's what I want. We can get rid of the fuel truck. We can remove these people here. We can start closing up the bins. Alright, let's go ahead and run. Everything else looks good. Alright, ground control is going to be 121.8. I don't believe we have the contact ramp here because we're going to push onto a taxiway. Captain Geo coming in with $2. Needs some technique to land a 319. Alright, man. You know what? I am going to be working on a video for some landing techniques in the airplane, but at first I gotta get some smooth landings myself. I'm having difficulties getting my stick in the right position. I want to replicate my stick as it is in the real aircraft, which is kind of down low, and I rest my arm on an armrest. So the only thing that's really unrested is my wrist in the aircraft. So in my sim, though, I don't have an armrest on my chair, so I'm kind of holding my arm out and holding my stick, and it makes it kind of difficult to get that right flare down. But we'll talk about it here in cruise. Let me get everything going here. I want to get this show on the road. 21.8. We don't need a contact ramp. Let's go ahead and close up the rest of the doors and do a checklist.
Get 1021, contact Oakland Center 132.95. Good day.
And we go ahead and pull that off. And here we go. That is good. Let's go ahead and get the beacon on. Get on. Helps if you squawk the right code.
Alaska 1021, Oakland Center, roger.
That is in all, and
FedEx
standby.
723 to Senate pilots discretion,
Alright.
maintain level 240.
Windows, doors, and slides. Closing arm. Beacon on. Thrust levers idle. Parking brake is on for now. 4-star check is complete. Better push back. We're going to want to push back. We're going to one left, so we're going to go this way. Push back onto Alpha. Cool.
Ground to cockpit. Plan acknowledged. Call me through the menu when you are ready.
Alright, let's call clearance. Or ground. Ground American 412, ready to push off 55. Looking to push onto Alpha.
American 412, push on Alpha is approved. Drives ready to taxi.
Alright, push on Alpha approved. We'll call you back, American 412. Alright, we are push approved. Let's get out of here. If I can find it, there it is.
Ground to cockpit. Tow is driving up.
You can see the aileron droop here because we got no hydraulic pressure flowing through the system, through any of the lines, so all our flight control surfaces will droop. A lot of times people ask me, why is the rudder on the ground always bent off to one side? Well, when there's no power to the aircraft and you've got a wind coming in, this rudder is kind of free to get blown around by that wind. So if it's strong enough wind and there's no power to the airplane, this will actually deflect. If you had a strong wind coming left to right, it'll deflect that rudder all the way over. That's why you see some airplanes on the ground with their rudders all twisted.
Okay, all doors and hatches are closed. Ready to connect.
He's going to go ahead and connect.
So connected and bypass pin inserted. Release parking brake.
Alright, brakes released, you're clear to push, onto Alpha.
Starting pushback. And you may start engines.
Unit Tower, Phenom 737 Mike Charlie, number 116 right, IFR departure.
Tower 737 Mike Charlie, Reno Tower, runway 16 right, cleared for takeoff. The wind 2403.
Alright, let's go ahead and fire up
Takeoff, 16 right.
the engines.
737 Mike Charlie.
There we go, we got PSI. We're going to start engine number 1. Let's listen to that beautiful BSS. I swear, the MATAVIA mod and this BSS sound pack, I feel like I'm in an airplane right now.
23, contact Albuquerque Center, 124.32, good day.
You can hear the hydraulics kicking in. Man. We got a short taxi to 1 left, so we're going to fire up both engines. We got a good start on 1, starting 2.
Book 723, Albuquerque Center, descend via the Sandia 3 arrival, landing runway 8, the Albuquerque altimeter 3032.
We got bus transfer over. Good start on engine number 2.
Operation complete. Set parking brake.
Brakes are set. Clear to disconnect. Show me the pin.
Disconnecting tow. Stand by.
What did I say? Flaps 1? Flaps 1.
Tower 737 Mike Charlie, NorCal departure radar contact on maintain, followable 190.
Alright, engine 2 is started. That comes off. That comes off. We are flaps 1. We are just waiting for the tug and tow. Let's go ahead and verify everything else is looking good here. I should probably pay more attention to our flight plan since I'm single pilot here. Tie, trucking. Alright, that looks good. That should get us to Hawks, and then we'll look at that arrival once we get airborne.
Tow is disconnected and bypass pin has been removed. Hand signal on the right. We'll see you next time and have a safe flight.
So one thing I like about the BSS sound is you get this little extra sound 3D volume thing. You can change anything that you would like to hear. Really nice. Alright, there's the pin. Ground American 412, ready taxi, Charlie.
American 412, San Francisco ground runway 1 left, taxi via Alpha and Mike, and just check transponder for me.
Alpha Mike and Washington 6441, American 412.
Yeah, I'm just not receiving mode C.
And how about Alpha American 412?
I'm still not receiving it at all.
Not receiving.
412, I'm getting it now.
Okay. Copy that, American 412, nice. Alright, that was weird. So he wasn't receiving it on ATC 1. Maybe I switched over to ATC 2, so. Alright, he's got it now. We're good to taxi via Alpha and Mike. So we're going to go straight ahead on Alpha and eventually make a left turn to Mike. So, taxi light comes on. Let's go. Whoa. Apologize for that.
Over 737 Mike Charlie, contact Oakland Center 132.2. Have a good day.
Okay, as we make the turn onto Mike, we're going to go ahead and exercise a flight control check. Full left. Full right. Full up. Full down. And let me straighten out here. Full right. Full left. Neutral. Alright, get back on the center line.
Number 737 Mike Charlie, Oakland Center, climb maintain, flight level 230.
Alright, auto brakes max, takeoff config, PWS on, PCAS cabin crew would make a little PA say, get ready for takeoff. Hi Captain, I'd like to start flying with an Airbus. I don't know what to choose between the flight factor and the toll list. Which one do you recommend as a pilot? The sale ends tomorrow. Man, that is a real tough question to answer. Let me get airborne and we'll go through, somebody remind me, once we get airborne and it slows down a little bit in cruise here, we're going to talk about the present state of the flight factor 320 and the present state of the toll list 319. I've been wanting to do another comparison video. I already have one up on my channel, but it's a little bit outdated now. There's been some updates, so I wanted to do another one, but between the piston series and doing all these streams for you guys, I really haven't had the time to get another comparison video down. But we'll talk about that in cruise. So somebody bring that up in cruise if I forget, and we're going to talk about the current state between both aircraft, and maybe that will help you make a decision. I can say this: they're both great airplanes, and they both have their strengths and weaknesses. Slam Cannon outside with the breeze, a beer, and streaming V1. Hard to beat. I appreciate that, man. That sounds good. I wish I had a beer right now, but maybe I'll get one when we get up in the cruise. That's a really nice part about being able to flight sim. You can have a couple drinks, relax, fly an airplane. Definitely would not want to do that in real life. Well, you end up like Denzel Washington in that movie Flight. Alright, this is Hotel 11. Did I pass Mike? Man, that would be embarrassing if I passed. Or Hotel 1. Did I pass Mike? No, I didn't. Alright.
Charlie, contact Oakland Center.
I was going to say that would be embarrassing. Alright, tower is going to be 120.5. Let's throw that in there. Departure. Always throw your departure frequency, guys. If you're just getting into Pilot Edge and ATC, throw your departure frequency in your standby, which ours is going to be 135.1. That way when you take off and you're busy retracting flaps and all that stuff, you just flip one switch and you can be on departure. You don't have to worry about tuning in a new frequency. Let's see if we can keep this rolling. Good morning, San Francisco Tower, American 412, holding short 1 left, ready to go.
American 412, San Francisco Tower, good morning, runway 1 level left, cleared for takeoff, the wind 3107.
1 left, clear for takeoff, American 412. Alright, we got our takeoff clearance. Oops. See if I can do this from the external view. Oh boy, I don't think so. I just want to try to look fancy. That was horrible. Mr. Dillon, don't grade me on that. Man, that looks good, doesn't it? Alright, let's get out of here. Spool them up, 50%. Forward on the stick, we are spooled. Let's go. Man flex, SRS runway, auto thrust is blue. Let me pop these out for y'all. Make it a little bit easier to read.
Retard.
80 knots, thrust set. 100 knots, neutral on the stick. V1, rotate. Positive rate, gear up. We're navving. Disarm the speed brake on rotation.
American 412, connect NorCal departure, good play.
Over departure, we'll see American 412. Alright, this is where I want an FO. Somebody hit the switch for me. It's alright, we got fly-by-wire, we can do it. March, good morning, American 412, 1.2, climbing 10,000 on the truck tube.
American 412, NorCal departure, good morning, radar contact, climb maintain, flight level 190.
On maintain, flight level 190, American 412. First climb, auto thrust. I hope he said 190. Somebody confirm that in the comments for me, so I don't have to look silly and ask him again. I believe he said 190. Rotate. Yeah, man, Captain Canada. God, I love that phrase. I find myself wanting to say it in the real airplane. Maybe he'll let me do that if I take a video. There we go. Flap 0, after takeoff check. Oh boy. A little stutter there. Apologize. Get those flaps up, baby. Man, this plane looks so good. Slam Cannon says, when the BSS sound pack comes out for the TOLUS, it's going to be hard to beat. That, sir, I can 100% agree with you, and I'm gonna explain why when we get up here and cruise. I'm gonna explain why I think if that TOLUS can get that BSS sound pack out, it's gonna be hard to beat. Thank you, Dylan and Blizzard 190. Appreciate it. James Lane, good afternoon. Glad to be here. Glad you can make it, buddy. Glad you can make it. Oh, we're speeding. When I used to fly corporate, so way before, when I was an instructor, you know, building flight time, and I got into a job flying the corporate jets around for a little bit. And I was an FO. I was just sitting in the right seat. And man, I used to fly with this one guy. So annoying. As soon as I went over 250 exactly, he'd just sit there and be like, speeding, speeding, speeding. It's just like, man, give me a break. Alright, we've had enough fun. Air show's over. Autopilot 1 engaged. Let's get a flyby view. Little stuttery there, We're running a lot of programs here. It's a San Francisco HD Fork Boy is pretty darn heavy on processing power. Alright, we are climbing out here. Dimitri says it would be nice to go through another VOR approach. This is a real look out there for this. I will, I'll see if I can get into do another VR approach for you guys. I don't think I did one yet. I'm just closing some background tasks, guys. Give me a second here. You want to know something crazy, guys?
FedEx 723, contact Albuquerque.
And this is, if you
127.4.
are, looking to upgrade your hardware right now, I'm just looking at some performance charts. So I'm running that new i9, and if you are on the fence about getting one, you definitely need to get one. My CPU is running at 6% right now. 6%. All right, there's above 10,000 feet. Let's go ahead and close or turn off those lights.
Albuquerque approach FedEx 723 descending right
Let's
now.
catch up some of these comments here. I noticed during runway announcement, the PFD during the takeoff roll didn't pop up. Is there a reason?
Hello.
During the takeoff
The Albuquerque on
roll.
3032 can expect the visual
The
approach
runway.
28.
Gosh, you know what? I can't remember, to be honest with you. That sounds bad. It looked normal for me. Yes, it Manflex, SRS. Oh, it didn't say runway because we're going off on an RNAV approach, but it should still say runway. I'll have to watch that stream back and see what happened there. I'm not exactly sure. I think I know what you're referring to, but I'm not exactly sure. Danny Blizzard coming in with $2 donate or £2 pound.
2.2.
€2? Yeah, pounds. Was that for us? Can you say that frequency again, American 412?
132.2 for American 412.
32.2, we'll see American 412. Appreciate the donation there, Danny. Appreciate it. He says, here's a couple pounds towards a cheeky beer. Haha, I love it, man. I'm going to hold you to that. I'm going to, after this stream, or maybe even when I get up to cruise here, I'm going to go grab one. I appreciate it. Thank you, Danny. Oakland, good morning. American 412, 12.6, climbing flight level 190.
American 412, Oakland Center, morning, climbing 10, flight level 230.
Climb flight level 230, American 412. 230 in the climb. Especially, so let's see. Catch up some of the comments here. James Lang, have you ever worked with some stricter pilots that can be cheeky? James Lang, of course, man. It does happen. You just gotta have to deal with it. As a professional, you gotta learn to set things aside from each other. If you're there to do a job, even if you hate the guy next to you, you're there to do a job. Just the only communication, make it be a checklist. But it does happen, unfortunately. Luckily, where I work now, it's I really get along with a lot of the guys we fly with. I really haven't had any issues lately. But if you pursue this career and you fly long enough, yeah, you're going to run into some guys that just, can't stand flying with. Have a good flight, Mr. Switch. Thanks, sir. Which flight school did you go to, if you don't mind telling? Okay, Ritzy, I don't mind. So I actually started my private pilot at Embry-Riddle Aeronautical University in Daytona Beach, Florida. I quickly realized that I would run out of money very fast if I pursued that route. So after I got my private pilot license at Embry-Riddle, I switched campuses to the Arizona campus, mostly because of a girl. And of course, like clockwork, that didn't work out. So I'm in Arizona now, and I realized that I wouldn't have enough money to complete all my training at the university. So what I started doing is I went to a local flight school where I actually had my first flight when I was 13 years old. On my 13th birthday is when I had my first flight. And it was at West Wind Aviation in Deer Valley, Arizona. And that's where I did the rest of my ratings. And I did my instrument, my commercial. I did my instrument, commercial, and commercial instrument, all for the same price of my private pilot license. So that should tell you, when you go to a university, at least in North America, the United States, universities are extremely expensive At least Embry-Riddle is. It's probably one of the most expensive routes to go. So I got all my other ratings for the same price as my one private pilot rating. So that was definitely a good move, I think, to switch. And then they had a program at that flight school where after you completed all your ratings, and if you become a flight instructor, get your flight instructor rating, flight instructor instrument, all that good stuff, that you can actually become a flight instructor for that flight school without having to do an interview. It's kind of like you just automatically get on. And so I did that. He reviewed my file, said, yeah, you've completed everything, welcome aboard. So I was an instructor at that flight school, and we actually had a contract with Asiana Airlines. So I was a Part 141 flight instructor for Asiana Airlines, and what they do is they select their cadets over in Korea, and they send them to the United States. They send them to Deer Valley, that flight school I was working at. Here's 18,000 feet, set standard set passes 17.9, checked, approach checks. All right, that is good. We are cruising out now. So they send their students over, no time, but they're already hired by the airlines, and then what we would do is train them from 0 time all the way up to commercial multi-engine, and then they would be sent off to go do a jet transition in California, and then they go straight back to Korea and proceed with their training and into the aircrafts that whatever they flew. So that's kind of my path in the instructor world. Have I ever worked? Oh, we already answered that. All right. Here we go. Catch up the comments, guys. I apologize. I'm looking at 2 screens. First time I do this. I'm just referring to callouts and takeoff. It's for the callouts. Yeah. I don't have. I know a lot of kids run XRAS. Is that what you're talking about? I don't have XRAS. I turned that off just because I've never flown an airplane with XRAS, so I don't use it. That's where it says approaching 25 left, or approaching on runway. So I've never flown an aircraft with that. So I don't use that. Could you talk about the physics knowledge? One should. 3295 American 426. I think that was for us.
Seattle Center.
We're going to find out.
37 Mike Charlie with you, flight level 330.
4737 Mike Charlie, Seattle Center.
Could you talk about the physics one should have before starting an ATPL? Yeah, we can get into that. Morning Center, American 412, flight level 200, climbing 230.
American 412, Oakland Center, morning, climb maintain, flight level 360.
Climb flight level 360, American 412. All right, that's our cruise altitude 36. Looks pretty darn smooth. Let's go ahead and get these seatbelt signs off. Let's take a look back here. A little stutter switching. Let's go ahead and talk from this view for now. All right, physics knowledge. You know, Ruben, you really, as long as you can do basic math and you have a basic understanding of just common law theory, I guess. I mean, it's really not that difficult. They're going to teach you everything you need to know. As far as the ATPL, I'm sure you were referring to somewhere in Europe. NASA, who's probably on the comment chains there, he's actually going through that right now. He may be able to better answer that question. In the United States, as far as your knowledge required before getting on, it's really not required. I mean, you just need basic math skills, and as you go into training, that's the whole point of training. They're going to teach you those individual skills that you need, like flight planning, calculating fuel, top and descent, all that stuff. So as long as you can do basic math, you're going to be taught those skills to proceed and pursue a career in aviation. Embry actually have a free online courses you can do. James Lang, yes. So actually, after I left the campus, because I no longer was with that girl, I was doing my flight training at that flight school, and then I was doing online courses through Embry-Riddle to finish my college. I is a Coolidge student. I actually did the online courses after, and it was much more financially acceptable for me. Jack Levine, Westwind used to be great, but they're not doing good at all now. I'm sorry to hear that. I have kind of fell out of touch with Westwind. I'd like to go back and visit. I'd like to see who's still there, but I'm sorry to hear that. It's going to cost me $68,000 from 0 to commercial. Sounds about Sounds about right. Jermaine Smith, that sounds about right. I mean, is that, what's that through? Is that through just a flight school, or is that through with an association with a degree or something? I don't know why it's stuttering between U's there. Apologize for that. Is 9K for a PPL in the U.S. reasonable? Man, you know, I don't want to stir you in the wrong direction. I haven't actually looked at the recent cost of flight training in so long. I really don't know the proper answer to that question because, you know, rates change. I mean, when I was going through flight training, I mean, you could rent an airplane with fuel and instructor for $60. Now I'm sure it's maybe close to 100. So unfortunately, I really don't have a good answer for you, man. I don't want to steer you in the wrong direction. I would definitely talk to, you know, maybe some local flight schools and see get their opinion, because they're in the know, right? Like, unfortunately, I'm no longer really in the know with the flight instructor realm and the current pricing and all that stuff. Thanks for sharing, V1. Appreciate it. Don't forget to set standard on the ISFD as well. Man, Dylan, why you gotta be so correct all the time? I told you, it's standard. See, we're good. See, I already said it. I'm just messing. NASA 6, he's talking to you, Ruben. There you go. That as well. Ooh, Dimitri says it will be a better viewing experience if you take out smooth transition mode from your X camera views for the cabin. Dimitri, I'm actually unaware of that possibility. I would like to do that. Is that something I can do from the settings? Or do I have to reset my sim? I would like to do that. I don't know. I didn't even know that was possible, so thanks for bringing that up. Techniques on how to land on 319. It flies really nice. Yeah, we're going to talk about that. I've got it ready to go.
I was surprised it was so short.
Where I'm from, universities are free, but you need to be very good in math, physics, language, French, mainly English too. Yep. Ah, yes, difference between 319 and 320. All right.
I'm sorry you cut off. You touched
Let's get into that. Differences between the 320 and the 319, the TOLUS and the flight factors. So what I've noticed recently, guys, is that if you look at both airplanes completely stock, right? No MATAVIA mod, no cockpit mod for the TOLUS, no sound pack for the 320, and no sound pack for the 319. The airplanes are both good, okay? The flight factor, since we're in the flight factor, we'll talk about that first. The flight factor has a much more completed finish with their symbology on the ND and the function of the McDo. So if you're looking for a very realistic way to set up the Airbus and fly the Airbus, look, we're getting some rain effects here, then the 320 is probably going to be ahead in that category. Also, what I like about the 320 is, you know, it's visually appealing. Like, it's got, like, when I press these little buttons here, you can see, if you look closely, they move, right? So even though this is a 2D pop-up, when I press it, I can actually see the button move. So that's a very nice touch. It's little things like that on the flight factor that is, it's nice to have, especially if you're really into that, trying to be as realistic as possible. Now, the TOLUS, the problem with the McDo, the default, we're talking about completely default airplanes. I pointed out a couple little things in my first video that are still kind of true. They fixed the sounds in their pop-out, but when you pop out and you're pressing buttons here, nothing moves in the pop-out. And also, it's a completely different McDo. It's a 319 McDo, and then they got a 320 McDo, or an updated McDo, I should say, in the virtual cockpit. Now, that's a very small detail. I can get away with that. There's also some other things, though, with the TOLUS that are still not complete yet, which I understand they're working on, so that's good. But a lot of their symbology on the ND is a little bit incorrect and not complete yet. So I know, like, they've got some decel points that are really large. There's lacking some bottom of descent and all that stuff. But I know that they're working on that, and that's going to be completed. So if you're willing to wait, then, you know, maybe that doesn't bother you as much. Now, from a default, we're going to talk about fully modded aircraft after, but right now we're just talking about completely default aircraft. So completely default, the flight factor cockpit is definitely more appealing to the eye. I mean, it's kind of hard to tell because this is obviously a modded cockpit, but the flight factor cockpit is definitely better textured, I think, in my opinion, than the TOLUS by default. So that's also another factor. And then lastly, default aircraft. The sounds, default for both of them, are not very good in my opinion. I think the flight factor is good enough default, but they have some really, I think, out of place sounds like their vent blower and a couple other things that just sound out of place in the default. In the TOLUS with default sounds is honestly a little bit poor in my opinion. It's very hard to get immersed with the default TOLUS sounds. So it feels like I'm kind of ragging on TOLUS for a second, but let's go ahead and flip that coin. The TOLUS 319 offers some very good functionality within your system's depth, such as failures. So if you guys have been following my streams, there's been a couple times, I think every time I've flown the TOLUS, I've actually had, in a stream that is, I've had something, either whether small or big, kind of pop up. And I have that because the TOLUS has what's called a time to failure setting, so you can kind of accelerate time. You know, I have mine a little bit higher because I want to see those failures. I think it's good to practice and get those little failures. So I have mine set a little bit higher. That's why they're more frequent when you see me streaming in the TOLUS. But it's actually really kind of fun because the other day we were going into Phoenix, and if you remember, I looked down and I had a complete, COM 1 failure here. The whole panel went out. So I had to switch over and start using the COM 2. That was cool. A couple streams ago, we took off out of Las Vegas, and I had a hot brake because that was, I think, on my fault because I was dragging the brakes a little bit trying to get the steering on the runway right. But then after that, we had something simple like an ADIR's fault, or I lost an IR. I think I lost IR 3 or something like that. So I pulled up my procedure checklist and I went through it, and we secured it, no problem. I also ended up losing a lower ECAM in the TOLUS before. Like, this complete ECAM just went out. So it wasn't a problem. We just came down to the switching panel and, we just switched the switching panel around. And it was fixed, no problem. So that, on the TOLUS side of things, is really cool because you can, you can simulate that. Everything you do is kind of like, oh man, did I actually check that? Did I not check that? I really like that about the TOLUS. So that's kind of both airplanes default. Now let's talk at both airplanes completely fully modded. Obviously we have the MATAVIA mod here in the cockpit. We have the MATAVIA mod also, it textures these wings a little bit darker. If you look at the engines, it's just incredible level of detail increased when you put this MATAVIA mod on. The TOLUS has a very similar internal texture mod. The one that I use, I think, is by Takeoff. It may be in the description. If not, I'll link it in the description at the end of the stream. You guys might be able to find it. It's on the Xplane forum. I just did a Google search for TOLUS 319 cockpit mod, and it's one by Takeoff. I think I'm saying that right. And it's really good. It brings the TOLUS cockpit texturing to the same level as a flight factor. 100%. I will say that. The overhead, I almost makes the overhead look better than the flight factor 320. So you get that texture mod, it's really awesome on the 319. To complement that, when you do the pop out with that TOLUS 319 cockpit mod, you have a complete picture realistic McDo. It looks like you're staring at the box in a real airplane. It's actually a photo real picture that's implemented as the 2D pop-up. Now, it doesn't have, you don't see the buttons move like you see the buttons move in the flight factor still. But with that type of pop-out, I can handle that no problem. I don't care if the buttons move. If I can see that McDo box pop out and photorealistic, it is awesome. So that's kind of the texturing. Now, the last thing we'll talk about is modded sounds. And I think sounds, to me, can really make or break the immersion in an airplane. So I went ahead and purchased the IAE sound pack for the TOLUS 319, which is the only one available. It's by TOLUS. They have so you buy the airplane, and then they also say, hey, buy our sound pack for the, which I think was kind of, you have to buy the airplane and buy a sound pack from them. Why, should be default, because the default sounds are pretty poor. But anyway, I got the IAE sound pack from TOLUS, and it's good, and that's where I'll leave it. I mean, it's good quality, but it lacks a lot of stuff in my opinion. Like, for instance, to compare, this is the BSS sound pack for the Flight Factor 320. You have your master internal, external. You can change weather, environment, life, systems, people. You can change the cabin in the back. And what's really cool is in the Flight Factor BSS sound pack is the cabin announcements operate off of your seatbelt, your seatbelt configuration, your light configuration, and your transponder configuration. So it's not just random times. Like, when you turn the transponder off, it assumes that you're at the gate, so it's going to do the gate announcement. When you get the transponder into auto or standby, and you turn the beacon, or you put the transponder in auto, they do the welcome aboard. When you put the transponder on and you turn the beacon light on, they start doing your safety briefing. So it's really cool that he has it, the BSS sound pack has it set up that way. It brings a whole nother level of immersion to the Flight Factor 320. So I hope that kind of covers both of them. If you look at both airplanes, completely modded, the TOLUS and the Flight Factor, I would edge, if you want the most immersive, as of right now, you kind of have to go with the 320 solely because of that sound pack. If you want something that you can, I mean, I'm not saying the TOLUS add additional sound pack is bad, but if you get, fully modded TOLUS 319 with the sound pack, you're going to be very happy, because you're going to have a little bit more function in the depth, in the system's depth. You can set up some failures. You can, it makes the plane feel a little bit more alive. So it's a neck and neck race. Personally, as both aircraft are right now, I would edge the Flight Factor ahead solely because of that BSS sound pack. Now, if that TOLUS 319 does get a BSS sound pack, I think, personally, lights out, it's going to be me flying the 319 a lot, because I love having failures pop up, because I don't just sit up here with a perfectly good airplane every time I start the sim and I get a brand new airplane. You may have a failure. So once they get that sound situation figured out, I think it's going to be hard to beat the TOLUS. I know that took a while explanation, I apologize, but I hope that answers your question, guys. I'm going to go ahead and look back at some of these comments here.
737,
let's use channels for
the Timbers to arrival landing east.
Via the Timbers to arrival for us.
What a beautiful scenery, ORBX rolls. Igor E, this is actually a Fork Boy ortho scenery, and it's free right now. We're not even in ORBX yet. So all this scenery that you're looking at, this is Fork Boy ortho photo scenery. Look up Q8 Pilot. He's got a full tutorial on how to install it and how to download it, and it's awesome. So Q8 Pilot, hats off to him. He's the one that I followed all his videos to get me to get this this scenery, and it's very simple to do. It does take up a lot of space, so just be wary of that. BlueMax says all you have to do is go to X camera settings and uncheck HR smooth transition options. I don't believe I have an X camera plugin. I don't believe I don't have an X camera plugin. I'm just using default Xplane views. So is there a way to change it from that, BlueMac? Let me know. Did Flight Factor fix its overpowered engines? Gosh, it feels better. I'm going to end up doing some tests here real soon. I've actually got the data. I've been collecting data for the last couple of weeks, guys, on takeoff performance for 319s and 320s. So be expecting those videos in the near future. We're going to find out once and for all if the overpowered engines are fixed. Let's see here. James Lang, when you're going through rain like that, should you turn ice on? Yeah, I probably should have, but I was talking, so I apologize. Hopefully the temperature was warm enough we didn't have to do it. Everything seems to be running just fine right now. Let's see. Mo, I've tried FS Labs and P3D, and I must say it's pretty impressive and better flight factor than ASC media. Okay, Mo, I know there's a lot of hate towards FS Labs and all this stuff, but let me tell you, man, when I actually went training on the Airbus, I was still running FSX, and I got the FS Labs 320, and I can tell you it is a phenomenal piece of work. I actually got, I think that's part of the reason why I was temporarily banned from the forums, because I said that the Flight Factor 320 didn't do things that the FS Labs thing did, and that blew up. But anyway, yeah, without saying much more, FS Labs 320 is probably the best 320 in the sim world as of now. Dimitri says, just uncheck the instrument trimmer devices there, so you can do this from the control panel for each view in each category. So yeah, I already asked that. Let's see, I'm catching up here. How about the in-flight handling? In-flight handling for both aircraft are awesome. In the comparison video on my channel, check it out. They both handle really well, especially in the normal regime and into the alternate. One thing that I will add is the TOLUS 319. So after I made that comparison video, well, I'll just get into it real quick. I made that comparison video. Flight Factor was not very happy with me. TOLUS, wireless, they deleted the video from their Xplane forum thread, which was understandable because they didn't want any Flight Factor information in their thread column, so I understand that was a mistake on my part. But they actually ended up contacting me through messages and said, hey, we saw your video, can you explain a little bit more about, you know, this, and this? And they have went ahead and adjusted the flight model in those alternate flight regimes and made it more realistic and made it even better than the Flight Factor. So if you get into alternate law and direct law, they have made additional improvements to where I don't even think the Flight Factor has. So that was one thing that I really liked about TOLUS. They invited me to their Discord. It was more of a, okay, this guy's pointed out some things in our aircraft, maybe we should check it out, talk to him, and that's what they did. Flight Factor, on the other hand, they just kind of tried to silence me. But, so I do love TOLUS. I think they've got a great product, and personally, sounds are just such a big deal for me. I wish we could get that ironed out. Other than that, it's a great aircraft. If you have the money for Flight Factor and BSS, get them. I absolutely agree. Slam Cannon says the owner of BSS is very excited about his TOLUS sound pack. It may be a flat pack. Dude, I hope that is true, man. I need to follow them on their social media so I can stay in tune with that. But I would be absolutely ecstatic for a TOLUS sound pack from BSS. Can you check above my airline? You can check above my airline career. Maybe I missed a comment there. Sorry. Do you know what you were using for the camera angles? Oh, I finally caught up. Sorry, guys. Finally caught up. Do you know what you're using for the camera angles? No. I just used the settings, the default settings. You know, it says set camera angle by pressing, what is it, left control numpad or whatever. So that's all I did. And, I mean, the transitions are smoother now. It's just coming out of that Fork Boy in San Francisco HD is pretty rough. Also, guys, yeah, I forgot to mention, the Discord is now live for V1 Sim. You can contact me on there. You can stay up to date with any of my videos coming out. I got a lot of PMs and stuff, guys, so I apologize if you guys are messaging me and I'm not getting back to you. I'm not ignoring you. It's just there's a lot going on, and I'm very busy right now. I haven't actually taken leave yet, so between setting up the V1 stuff and real life, it's I'm getting very, very busy, guys. So I'm not ignoring you. I apologize, but join that Discord. Ask questions. We've got a couple real pilots on there. Be a great little community place to hang out. We could talk all things Xplane and real life aviation too. Cedric says, although this may not be related, but may I ask if I can fly VOR to VOR? Do I file flight plan? Are you talking about Pilot Edge? It depends on your aircraft and equipment. If you're flying an airliner, you're most likely going to be a slant in Lima. That means you have everything except GNSS. But it depends on your aircraft. But if you could only fly VOR to VOR, then you would probably... file it as a slant alpha if you're only doing VOR to VOR. I believe it's slant alpha. Captain Bodzai says that's impressive, tweaking the flight model from reviews. Yeah, it absolutely was, man, and it was such it was so good. I was so happy that they did that because I was kind of disheartened after the Flight Factor 320 came out. I was so excited for it. I bought it, and when it first came out, it was an early alpha, man. There was a lot of things wrong with it, and I posted it out on the forum. I was like, look, this is my observations, and it was like, phew, delete, temporary ban. They actually temporary banned me 2 or 3 times for harassment. I'm like, okay, I'm sorry, this is a support forum. I was trying to, get some support here because this is incorrect, but neither here nor there. We've moved on. Told us the complete opposite approach. They wanted to fix, and they wanted additional information. That's what I loved about it.
737 Mike Charlie, contact Seattle Center 121.4.
21.47.
Do I do long haul V1 James Lang in real life? Well, the longest flight that I do, I try to avoid it now, is probably going down to South America. We do Lima, which is pretty far, which is 6.5 hours. We go to some other places that are quite far, but I have enough seniority now where I try to avoid that. I like being in and out. I just do turns. I do day trips.
Seattle Center.
I like to just out for home for breakfast and lunch. Go have dinner on the road, come back, sleep in my own bed every night. So I do the short turns. I enjoy that. That's what I'm looking for right now. I've got a baby on the way. I'm trying to spend as much time at home as I can, get things set up. So I've kind of stepped away. I don't bid for those long trips or international trips right now. Ritzy, oh, they're talking that. Any fun stories on flying through? Well, would it be flying or something happen on the ground? Oh yeah, man, we could talk all about all kinds of stories. I mean, what do you want to know, man? We can. Oh. Let's go ahead and manage that up. I'll see if I can think of a good story that we can tell here in a throw. I'll try to think of my most recent 320 event, real life, then I'll talk to you about it. It's been pretty smooth sailing recently. Although in North America right now, we're going through our summer season, so the weather is pretty much every single day we're dealing with weather. So other than filing a flight plan and not flying over a single fix that you filed because you're deviating the entire way to your destination, everything has been relatively normal in the recent past. I heard you pointed out something about FSX. I recently came to the stream. What are your expectations about the new flight simulator? Man. So if I'm sure you guys are familiar with Frugal Sim. He did a video, kind of what he thinks it's going to be. I'm kind of inclined to agree with his viewpoint on the new flight simulator. It definitely looks pretty. But here's my thing. When I look at a flight simulator, I want something that's immersive. I want to click switches. I want to go up here to my overhead and I want to turn the no smoking sign off, or I want to actually click switches and do things. Since they're really advertising that Xbox platform, I don't know. I'm holding my reservations. I'm not very excited because I've seen Microsoft flop twice on trying to break back into the flight sim community, and I don't know. What I've been telling my buddies is, they announced their trailer at what was it, that game at E3, right, in Vegas. Now, if you really were going to produce the next best flight simulator ever, don't you think that, while yes, you could announce it at E3, but wouldn't you have, this is Microsoft we're talking about, you have almost unlimited resources. Wouldn't you have a small team go to the Flight Sim Expo in Orlando and announce it with them as well, and collaborate with some of the best third-party developers that have held this community together for so long, such as PMDG, Laminar, everybody, right? So the fact that they didn't even do that is kind of like, okay, what are you trying to do? Just break into microtransaction community, show something really pretty, and fly airplanes around with an Xbox controller? How do you, how am I supposed to set up, how am I supposed to do a pre-flight checklist with an Xbox controller? So I don't know. It's just kind of my opinion. I'm not I'm just gonna see. It's way too early to really have any real good assumptions. So I think it's way too early. But I'm not holding my breath. I'll tell you that. I honestly think with Forkboy, well, here we're gonna go over a spot here that is not Forkboy ortho. As you can see here, the Forkboy ended over there. Now we're at default before we descend into the ORBX terrain. So, heck, even with the default, it's not that terrible. But I honestly think with ortho photos and ORBX coming to the Xplane platform, I think Xplane 11 and Laminar is gonna be the sim to be at. I think obviously FSX is at its last legs. I think it's dying a little bit. P3D is good, but you've got so many different, I don't know, add-ons you got to do, and it seems like they're really trying to breathe life into something that is not future-proof. I think Xplane is on the leading edge of flight simulators. I think P3D is kind of on the middle of that blade, and FSX is obviously on the trailing edge of any advancement. So I really think that Xplane can be the top simulator, period. I already think it is, but I think even more people are going to observe that in the near future. Let's see, Retnut, I forgot where, but my cousin who flies AAL320 had a luggage truck hit his aircraft while in the engine. Oh yeah, man. Oh man, I'll have to PM me and see if I know who he is. But yeah, I've been hit by a tug. So actually, oh, that brings up a perfect story. So Rutnut, we were actually it's a couple months ago now, but we were pushing back from the gate in Dallas-Fort Worth, and the ground controller, he said to set the brakes. So let me back up too. It was 2 pilots, and we also had a Federal Aviation Administrator on the jump seat. So we had an FAA on the jump seat. Everybody was in tune. Everybody heard the same thing. He said set the brakes. Brakes were set, and apparently either the tug wasn't ready, or he was saying get ready to set brakes, don't set brakes. Whatever phrase he was using was non-standard, and we all interpreted it as, okay, set brakes. So we set the brakes, and he continued to move the tug after the brakes were set, and what actually happened is that the tug broke off the nose wheel, it slipped off, and the tug bar busted up into the airplane. So we had to go back to the gate, deplane, and then we ended up having to get a special ferry permit, fly this airplane with the gear down all the way to a different facility. We had to a heavy D check place. So that's probably the most recent 320 debacle. Oh, I also just had a 319 that we flew the other day. We came back and I looked at the maintenance log, and the aircraft had just come out of oh gosh, I can't remember, Ecuador or something, somewhere where they do a D check where they actually remove the wings, and they do. I think it wasn't even a D check, it was called the 30-year maintenance check or something. That's how it was written in the logbook. And I'm telling you, when there's something wrong, when something is broken, they put a little orange sticker, right? And we have to look up the number on that sticker so we know what's broken. We call them MEL stickers. This whole panel and this whole panel was just filled with broken items. And I'm looking at the paperwork like, okay, so we're flying an airplane that just had the wings taken off of it. It's over 30 years old, and there's so much stuff broken. And we're going to go ahead and fly this plane at night over the ocean. Sounds like a good plan to me. But, I mean, nothing ended up happening. It was just kind of one of those moments where you're like, oh boy. Lucky 67 coming in with 10 pounds. Dude, appreciate the donation, man. Thank you very much. Really appreciate that. Let's see, my longest flight to Dusseldorf is 4 hours and 30 minutes long. Yeah, that's a long one, man. We do our transcons, which are pretty common, transcontinental, we do them red eyes or whatnot from, one coast to the other. They'll be up there about 6.5 hours if you're going westbound into the wind. Going down to South America, though, we take those 319s, and it can be lengthy. We do augmented cruise, obviously, for rest, but I try to bid. My seniority allows me to not bid that. I go to Minneapolis and back. I do a 2-hour flight, or I do San Diego and back. That's my way to do it. Lucky T. Oh, I'm sorry, man. That was a super chat. A super chat. He says, eagerly waiting for next episode of the Piston series. Awesome, Lucky. I'm glad you're into that. I am super excited. I'm already recording. I've recorded a couple episodes already. I'm working on my editor. I'm trying to get all that footage recorded and edited. So when, if you guys aren't familiar, I have a baby coming this month. So when baby comes and I'm on leave and things get hectic, I want all those episodes already done so I can go ahead and upload them. I'm planning right now. I'm planning every Friday will be a new Piston series episode. But I'm glad you're into that, man. It's so fun. It's really bringing me back to my roots. I love flying the props and getting down and dirty in the scenery. And now that we have ORBX, oh man, it's going to be a great series. It's going to be a lot of fun. Thank you, James Lang. Appreciate it. We take 319s from Doha to Helsinki and it's 5 hours plus. Yeah, so believe it or not, the 319 is actually the most, when you're looking at CEO engines, non-Neo, the 319 is the most fuel efficient to bring because it's, obviously lighter. And you can fit a good amount of people in there too. So on our longest flights, they're mostly 319s. We can take a 320 or 321, but you got to take a lot more fuel. All right, let's catch up here. Do you think the Flight Factor 320 needs a better wing flicks from Cedric? I don't know. I think it's pretty decent. The Airbus is pretty, and take note of the non-ORBX right here. We'll see the difference as soon as we hit the ORBX region. The Airbus wings are pretty rigid, so I don't know if the wing flicks needs adjusting. I think it's pretty good. If anything, it might be a little bit loose on touchdown. We'll take a look at it when we land. We'll see, but I don't seem to have a problem with that, with the wing flicks right now. What's our Discord server? Check the description. It should be in the description. Oh, screenshot section. Yes, I'll do that. If any of my V1 Sim captains are on the stream right now, go ahead and create a screenshot section, please, for the Discord. We will definitely get that up for you. That's a great idea. What about the weather radar on Flight Factor from Igor? Does it really work how it should be? What is your opinion? So Igor, the Flight Factor radar doesn't work for me yet. I don't run betas, so we're getting closer. We're going to have to get ready to set up for our arrival. Center American 412. You guys still there? Alright, cool. Just got quiet. Next. Just had to make sure it was still in the...
Change my frequency 135.15.
3515. It's getting real quiet on that radio. Alright, American 412, we're with you on 135.15.
American 412, roger.
Ah, much better. Alright. The weather radar, it doesn't work for me because I don't run betas. So I haven't actually used in the beta phase. I'm unfamiliar with the weather radar in the beta phase yet. I apologize. Can't really give you a good answer on that. Slam Cannon says they did say the new Microsoft Flight Sim is coming out on PC first and Xbox later. Okay, well, that's good. I'm glad to hear that. I've actually... So to be honest, I really kind of haven't been following the new Flight Simulator too much. I subscribe to their email thing or whatever, but I haven't been too much into it because honestly, like I said, it's too early yet. But if it's coming out on PC for real first, then... maybe it is something. Maybe it is something, guys. But like I said, it really bugged me. You're Microsoft. You have almost unlimited resources and money. You're telling me you're going to release your next gen best flight simulator ever at E3, while at the same time the Flight Sim Expo is going on in Orlando. I understand you want to reach more people with E3. That's perfect. Have the main event there, but send a small team over to the Flight Sim Expo and talk to the developers, talk to PMDG, talk to Flight Factor, talk to Tolis. Let's say hey, how can we? Is there any way we could maybe collab our efforts here? What kind of But they don't want to do any of that, and I don't want to get a pretty simulator that doesn't have study simulation aircraft. That's kind of my problem with, you know, the E-jets that are out right now. I want to do more professional series videos, but a lot of the jets that are out right now, and, you know, the Xplane is still relatively young. There's not too many study level aircraft out yet, so that's why I'm kind of avoiding them. But I mean, we've got the Airbus. I've heard the Zibo is good. I love Captain Sim. I love all their products. There's really good planes out there. So I don't know. I just kind of found it a little bit weird that they didn't want to do anything at the Flight Sim Expo. That kind of shows me that they have different intentions. Captain Bodseye says, looking at that trailer, I see a trailer. I will get excited once I see someone flying it on YouTube. Yep. Footage in trailers never reflects the finished game. You're absolutely right, man. I feel the same way. Seatback Pocket. Great name. Seatback Pocket. That's awesome. You need a buddy named Barfbag. Or Sky Mall. He says, yeah, but there were more people in the lobby at E3 than the entirety. Right, and I understand that. And I think, and I would totally understand that, is you want to reach more people at E3. So do the main event at E3. Do the, you know, have the big show there. But send two guys. Send two people to the Flight Sim Expo. You know? Just send two people there to introduce, like, hey, you guys have been carrying the Flight Sim community for the last decade. We're going to come in and try to make an even better simulator. Let's talk about it. But no, they just kind of want to do their own thing. So who knows, guys? Who knows? I don't want to beat a dead horse, but we'll see. It's too early yet. Too early. Legolas 105, do you know what's the difference between the ATP 2018 and 2019 or ATP books in general? No, I really don't know. I think when they changed the years out, you're talking about like your flight school books. Each year, you know, regulations change, little things change like that. So that is probably the only difference. That would be my guess. Sorry if that's not a good answer for you, but I think that's what you're referring to. Do you know what? Serious. So that as soon as they add Vulkan API to Xplane, it will be future-proof. Yeah. Yeah, ma'am. All right, I think we're getting close. We're getting close to the ORBX scenery. I left. Oh, it looks like we got ORBX on this side. I left the. Well, that might be default. I left the default zone in the middle there so we can see the transition when we get to the ORBX. You guys are going to be blown away. Hopefully, the clouds aren't covering everything up. Let's see. Scrolling down here. Is your air? The CFE and IAE, are they notable differences? We have IAEs and NEOs, but the differences really are, you know, obviously in the reversers, a few other small technical details, but not really. EPR, N1, it's two engines that do the same thing. Both are really good. I prefer the IAE engines just because I think they sound cooler and they look better. But CFM has been making engines for a long time, so no noticeable differences. It's 10 euros. Thanks, man. I appreciate it. I apologize. 10 euros. I'm just a good old Texas boy living out in the country, man. I don't mean to offend anybody. Thank you for informing there, Mr. Dillon, that it was euros. That's funny. Captain Chill says Xplane 1972 had a great landing at is that for us? Oh, in Boston. Yes, he sure did, man. If you guys are familiar with Xplane 1972, he's a great streamer. I stumbled upon his stream a couple weeks ago, and I could tell he was doing the A319 into Boston Logan last night, and I could tell he's watched some of the professional series. He had a great landing. Pressure's on now. Hopefully I don't totally screw this one up. But like any good pilot, I'm already going to make an excuse for my landing, and my excuse is that my joystick is too high. I don't have the proper armrest, so we'll see. But yeah, Xplane 1972, check him out. He's another good streamer. He's got some real good content out there. He's definitely been watching the professional series and learning to fly the Airbus. I think him and I should do a multi-crew flight one time. I'd love to do that. What is augmented cruise? Augmented cruise?
Yeah, 737 Mike
Oh,
Charlie. Parking on the
augmented
north side of the
crew.
Anchor on the south side.
Crew, C-R-E-W. So what that means is, if you take an airplane down to a destination that's,
7 Mike Charlie. I think most of the GAs
for
actually
example,
on the
let's say
north
like
side, so if you want 10 left,
6
you want
hours, and then you're going to fly that plane back, you have to have another crew. You have to have a relief crew, because you will time out your flight duty period, and your flight time will time out. You won't have enough legal rest, or not even rest. You won't have enough legal time to operate that aircraft back. So augmented crew is, you get that on transcontinental flights, or going across the pond. You have a relief crew that comes up. That's all that means, augmented. Is the Total 319 realistic? Absolutely, Aggie, absolutely. Blue Mac, I've been trying to get the radar to work. As far as I know, it only works in the beta, so I don't run the beta. It has not been working for me yet. A few more comments here, and I got to get into preparation for the arrival, guys. We have a 319, 133 LR with ACT tanks. Nice. I don't like additional fuel tanks, because you know what that means? It means additional time in cruise. About 3.5 hours is my limit, guys. I start to get a little antsy up there. I don't... I want to get on the ground. Not that I don't want to fly, it's just 3 hours in a cockpit can get a little bit dull. Yeah, but half of those people weren't at the expo. Right, so I also fly... Yeah. Fair says, so I also fly the 320, but if I'm late with my descent, my whole descent is ruined and I'm getting way too high. Do you know how I can do my descent better? Go into open descent. Get the speed brakes out, man. That's going to be your fastest way, is open descent and speed brakes full out. If you really need to get additional drag, turn the autopilot off. Then you'll be able to get full speed brakes in the 320, and that will help your descent a little bit. Rutnut says start 5 miles. Yep, absolutely. We start our calculated descent 5 miles prior to top descent. Camille, let's see. Connor Liu, there were hints that Microsoft was working with Aerosoft in the trailer. Still not for me, though. Yeah, we'll see. Like I said, guys, it's really early yet. Let's see. Let's talk about this, 2020. Let's see where we're at, and then we'll see what's going on with the new Microsoft simulator. Ben Wright says Microsoft released a statement saying they would allow add-ons. Microsoft conference was after the FS Expo finished, and they didn't want any chances of getting out, so they couldn't get that reaction. Okay, I can understand that. I can see that. That makes sense. What do you think about the King Air 350? Oh, dude, Igor EK. I don't want to spoil the surprise, guys, but I am super excited about that King Air 350. I've got time in Beechcraft, not the 350, but 200s and a couple of the beach models with PT6s, 99s, 100s, and all that stuff. So I have experience in King Airs, so not exactly the 350, but I think it's close enough. We're going to come, all right, I'll just tell you, we're going to come up with a new series as well for turboprops. I love that King Air. We're going to get into that, but let's get through the piston series first. Jungly Sim, how many movies look awesome on trailer when you see it? They're actually awful. Yep. We got to keep our feet on the ground. Absolutely, Jungly Sim. I agree. Let's keep our feet on the ground. Let's wait and see what's going on. Third-party developers merged with Microsoft for working on FS some way it will ruin their business. Yeah. Yeah, that can happen. About to change my name to McDo. Heck yeah. Mo, are you thinking of getting into long haul? Maybe after the baby comes and I want to, sleep. I might get into long haul. James Lang, thanks for explaining. You're welcome. What's the maximum hours before you run out of time? I'm a trucker in real life, so after 11 hours to drive mandatory. It depends, Captain Geo. It's actually kind of complex. It's called FAR 117. Generally speaking, actually, I have a time card on my phone here. Let me pull up my phone pictures.
60 kilo negative.
Let's see if I have that time card on here. It's generally between your flight time, which is the amount of time in the cockpit, is typically around 9 hours max. And then you have a duty period, which is from the time that you report for duty and the time that you're released from duty. The flight duty period can be amended up to a couple hours, but here we go. So it depends on segments and your flight duty period start time. So the lowest it is 8 hours, That's if you report, you know, at midnight up to about 6 a.m. From 6 a.m. on, you have 9 hours of duty all the way until reporting around 8 o'clock at night. Then you have 8 hours of duty. So it's a pretty complex system, but it's generally around 9 hours or 8 hours of actual flight time. And then your duty period, which is the amount of time that you can be on duty from when you report for duty, is a little bit longer, like 14. When your daughter grows up, do you plan on taking her flying? Absolutely, Connor Lou. Absolutely. All right, I've caught up with the comments. I'm going to look at the arrival now, and we're going to have to get the ATIS because, man, what are all these clouds doing here? So let me, I want to go over here. There we go. I want to pull up the chart for the arrival.
Control 416 Juliet Kilo, northbound ground runway 22, taxi via Alpha, Charlie, cross runway 13.
Alright, so we are going to be flying the Hawk 7 RNAV arrival. Seattle. Hawk 7. We're at direct Hawks. Oh man, we didn't follow the transition, that's okay. Hawks is at 27. Digital ATIS is 18.0. I wonder if we are in range yet. Let's go ahead and set up the box, guys. I'm going to see if I can pick up the ATIS. We may be a little far out. Let's see.
This information mark 1653 Zulu with 180 at 8. Visibility 10. Ceiling 3,700 broken. 6,000 broken. Temperature 17. Dew point 9er. Altimeter 3013. Arriving and departing runways 16 center, 16 left. 16 right. Visual approaches in use. ILS runway 16 center, runway 16 left, and runway 16 right approach in use. Simultaneous approaches to parallel runways in use. Simultaneous approaches in use between Seattle and Boeing Field. Traffic below you on final. VFR departures, contact, clearance, delivery, advise on course heading, altitude, and if flight following is requested. Read back all runway assignment and hold short instructions. Advise on initial contact. You have information, Mike.
Alright, we've got information, Mike.
Seattle Tacoma International Airport. ATIS information, Mike. 1653 Zulu with 180 at 8. Visibility 10.
Alright, 180 at 8.
3,700
That's what we need.
broken. 6,000 broken.
Well, it's going to be kind of broken.
Dew point 9er.
Oh gosh, what'd I do?
Arriving and departing runways 16.
3515. Alright. We've got the information. Man, it looks like until we get below 7,000, it may be hard to see the scenery. Should we clear it out? Let me know in the comments, guys, if you guys want me to clear out the clouds and the weather. If not, if we're going to do real, it's going to be broken till about 7,000 feet. So we'll still have time below 7. But if you guys want the weather to be cleared out, I can do that as well. Shoot it up in the comments there while I go ahead and program the box. We're going to go into plan mode. Let's bring out the ND a little bit here. Okay, Hawks above 12,270 knots. That looks good. Pikes 15 and 12,250 knots. Coffee, breathe, that's in there. All restrictions, Key West above 7, Washington 6,000. Alright, thanks for the subscribe, Rashid, appreciate it. Alright, so it looks like
Mike Charlie, turn right, heading 010.
Vashon is the bottom of the arrival, which is 6,210 knots. That looks correct. Then we're going to break off into the ILS. Right now I'm planning 16 center. Hopefully he'll give it to me. I may have to switch to 16 right. 16 center, we'll plan on that. So we'll go ahead and look at the approach chart for 16 center. It starts at Anvil. Sodo, TV, list approach procedures out to Milt, hold, right turns, it's in the box. Alright, so that looks good. Let's go ahead and put Seattle in the quick and dirty GPS here. Dimitri says you may want to look into X camera. I will definitely look into that, Dimitri. I would definitely appreciate it. New ATIS voice? Well, I didn't know what the old ATIS voice is, but I like it. I like it kind of. It sounds good. Danny Blizzard says on the railway in the UK, they want to add a camera to our driving cab that monitors your eyes, and even if you have a microsleep, it'll sound an alarm. And you think you could look like that. Well, you know what? I don't know. We'll see. I think they'll probably start reducing pilots in the cockpit before that shows up. You know, maybe go to single pilot operation, and then that might come around. But Wallace says there's no need for X camera and Xplane. Information mic mean that just means that's the code for that transmission. So when I check on, I'll say, hey, I have information mic, which means he knows I listen to the current weather at the airport, and that changes typically every hour. All right, perf descent. We're gonna slow this down a little bit here. The star. Hawks is at 270 knots, but I don't want to go that slow. Let's do a 7.8. Let's do 7.9, 310 for now. All right, environmentals from information and Mike.
American 412, listed at pilot's discretion, maintain flight level 240.
Pilot's discretion, maintain 240, American 412. All right, we got 24 set. QNH in the box is going to be 3013.
Mike Charlie comes at Portland Tower 118.7.
Temperature is 17. And the wind was 180 at 8.
Up 737 Mike Charlie, Portland Tower, runway 10 left.
MDA, the minimums for 16 center is going to be 634. I'm sorry, it's going to be 630. That looks good. All right, secondary, what we're going to do is we're going to do secondary. What we're going to do, we're going to go copy active. We're going to go secondary flight plan. We're going to put in a different runway. We're going to put in 16 right. And we're going to do no star. So now our secondary will just have Seattle 16 right. So if they switch, if they say, hey, switch to runway 16 right, we can activate the secondary. And we're going to do secondary perf. And if you've copied your active, you will already have all your environmentals in. So all we have to change is the approach data. And the 16 right minimums are 615. Alright, so that's good. Let's go ahead and, yeah, we got a little bit of wind up here, don't we? Alright, here is 5 miles prior to top of descent. 3 miles, let's go ahead and manage speed. I'm sorry, manage altitude. And the aircraft will begin coming down. Alright, we're going to land with low brakes. Should we do idle reverse? Nah. So in this situation, I'll probably use idle reverse, but since we got the BSS sound pack, let's go ahead and go full reverse. And everything is set on the overhead panel. Alright, let's do a quick overview and quick brief. We're going to land on the ILS. Let's see, we're coming down on the star for Hawk 7. Bottoms out at Key West at 7,000 feet. First restriction starts at Hawks. We've already verified that in the box. We'll go ahead and lead into the approach. Our initial approach we're planning on is ILS runway 16 center. Final approach course is 111.7. I'm sorry, localizer frequency is 111.7. Final approach course 164. Sodo, the final approach fix is at 1,900 feet. We can verify that here. Sodo. Well, that doesn't look right, but it was in here. Sodo, 1,900 feet. DA for us is 630. That's in the barrel, matches the glass. Touchdown zone for runway 16 center is 430 feet. We got a couple of sector altitudes out here. highest, of course, is going to be the mountain,
412, contact Seattle Center 126.6.
which is 6,400 feet out the east side off the Seattle VOR. So we're going to get terrain on the ND. And unfortunately, the terrain mode only goes out to
412, contact Seattle Center 126.6.
126.6, American 412. Unfortunately, the terrain doesn't go out very far, but it'll be better than nothing. I'll keep our range down to about 40. Seattle, good morning, American 412, 30.1 descending, discretion 240. So 126.12, right? Seattle, Center American 412, 28.9, descending 240. That's Center for American 412. What was that frequency for Seattle?
American 412, 126.6, 26.6.
26.6, thank you, American 412. My bad. This is where it'd be nice to have one of those radio panels so I can just dial it in. Seattle, good morning, American 412, 27.5, descending 240.
American 412, Seattle Center, Roger, descend via the Hawk 7 Arrival, landing south, Seattle, altimeter 3013.
Descend via the Hawk 7, landing south, American 412. Alright, so we know landing south, 16 center, the bottom altitude was 6,000 feet. We briefed that. So we'll go ahead and set 6,000. We're going to keep on coming down. The altimeter was 3013, so we can go ahead and put that in the box here. Right there. Boom. Alright, 16 center approach. Briefed it. Miss. We're looking for Pappies on the left, ALSIF 2 lighting. If we have to go miss, we have to stay at or below 2,000 feet on a heading of 160, and then intercept the Seattle 161 to Tebney. So this is a missed approach procedure where you're actually going to set 2,000 feet for the initial. Alright, the identifier, okay, what is wind? Wind is 8.0. Did I put 0? Double check that. Ah! Good catch there.
We should pull in 6 Juliet Kilo, northbound ground runway 22, taxi via Alpha Charlie, cross runway 13.
What's the difference between idle reverse and full reverse? In real life, we tend to use idle reverse if we can save maintenance on the engine, and especially if you're using auto brakes, guys. So a lot of people misconstrued what the auto brakes do. So the auto brakes tell the aircraft to descend at a specified rate. Look at this. That's interesting. So it doesn't matter if you have, to really simplify this, if I select low brakes, the aircraft is going to slow at, I can't remember, 1.6 feet per meters per second. There's a number that's in my book that I should have memorized. I'll have to know that before I go to recurrent next month. But anyway, it will decelerate at a specified rate. It does not matter if you have reverse or not. So let's just make a very simple example. Low brakes, let's say it's 5 meters a second, which that's really high. I think it's like less than 2, 1.3. The aircraft is going to slow at that rate, no matter if you have reverse out or not. Your landing distance will be the same. Same with medium brakes, except medium brakes are a little bit higher. It's a rate of descent. Now what happens is if you descend with, if you land with medium brakes and you use full reverse, you're going to help the brakes stay a little bit cooler. Same with low. If you do low auto brakes and you do full reverse, the rate of deceleration is going to be met faster with the reverse in full, so it will allow the brakes to work less, therefore you're getting less temperature on them. But instead of doing that, if I'm going to use, if I really want to keep the brakes cool, I'll just do manual brakes. I won't use auto brakes. But that's just kind of how the auto brakes work. It's not, it doesn't matter if you use reverse, or even you can land with idle reverse and medium brakes, and it'll be the same landing distance as medium brakes and full reverse, because the auto brakes are doing a rate of deceleration, period. All right, is there, let's see, Out of stop power, yeah. And so, but in real life, we try to minimize the wear and tear on the engines. Oh, hey, we got BSS sound, so we're gonna go low brakes, full reverse. But if you guys are flying into an airport where it's really hot, then take those brakes off, auto brakes off, and just use full reverse to help yourself slow down. All right, we're reaching 18,000. Let's go ahead and set 3013 approach checklist. Briefing's complete. ECAM status is checked. Auto brakes are low. Seatbelt sign is on. Minimums. We've got 630 set. 125.6. American 412. We'll see it. Stand by on the checklist. Great view of the ORBX scenery, isn't it? Seattle American 412. We are descending 17.8 via the Hawk 7.
American 412, Seattle approach. Expect ILS runway 16 left approach.
Any chance we can get 16 center this morning, American 412?
American 412, sure. Expect 16 center.
16 center, American 412, thanks. Alright, he's going to give us 16 center. I didn't want to put it on the other runway. I don't want to taxi that far. Alright, we're going to be a little fast at Hawks. Maybe. What was I? I was on my checklist. So we've got 630 set, engine anodized 1-2 is off, and altimeters are 3013 set. Approach checklist complete. Here comes Hawks. Just flew over it. We're a little fast, 10 knots or so. We're slowing. No harm, no foul. Not much traffic out here today. Obviously, in real life, we would try to meet that.
Alaska 1021, contact Seattle Tower 119.9.
Off to town, LC Alaska 1021.
Alright, does real Airbus show terrain far zoomed out? Yes, Danny, you can show terrain all the way out to 320 miles in the real Airbus. So I wish that they could do that. I think it might be an Xplane limitation because they told us it's the same way. It doesn't show out very far. Antonio says, do you need to go around when TCAS says traffic on final approach? No, you don't. And you'll get that very common if you are flying into Los Angeles and there's a police chase in Hollywood. They'll say, Tower will say, hey, we got a police helicopter. He'll remain north of the center line at all times, but he's at 500 feet, quarter mile from you. So your TCAS will be going off like traffic. And as long as you have them in sight, you're good to land. The adjust vertical speed, or an RA, a resolutionary advisory, that is something where you have to execute a maneuver. So an RA is like climb. That means you are in an imminent collision course, and you will comply with that no matter what ATC says. So even if ATC says, hey, descend, if your RA is saying climb, you climb, and the other aircraft will have TCAS talking to it, telling it to descend. So the TCAS is all talking to each other. But a TA, or a traffic advisory, when it just says traffic, that doesn't mean you have to do anything. That's just, hey, we got something close. Rate of descent. Captain Voice, yeah, I'm sorry. Did I say descent? I meant deceleration. I meant deceleration, guys. Yeah. So for the auto brakes, it's all deceleration.
Clear the John Wayne Airport via the offshore
said rate of descent, sorry.
Transition that is filed. Climb via Civic, set maintain 10,000. And squawk 1671.
I think medium brake is overpowered in a flight factor. They might be. Medium brakes stop you pretty quick, though, even in the real airplane. They will, you definitely feel it. Mr. Dillon, I gotta go. Have a good one, buddy. Thanks for tuning in. Tommy Monroe, what's up, Cap? This is one of my new favorite Xplane channels. Just tuned to your last stream. Awesome, dude. Glad to have you here. Welcome. Alright, guys, let's see if we can get some kind of view out there. Let's go ahead and do an external view. There it is. There's some ORBX. There's some ORBX out there. Rutnet says, I think the train only shows on loaded scenery at the time. That is probably accurate, so that would explain why it doesn't go out very far. Alright, we're getting our first glimpse of ORBX. Oh no, and we're going to turn away from it. It is beautiful, guys. I tell you what, it is huge, though. It is a huge file. You need, the download is only about 75 gigs, but once it does its full install, it's upwards of 200. So I found out the hard way. I had to run to get a new SSD. Thanks to your guys' support, though, we got it done, and we are gonna give it a shot here. All right, back inside the cockpit. I got to make sure my landing is as good as Xplane 1972's, because he had a nice one yesterday.
121.4.
How many AMRAMs can this thing carry? Cosmic can carry about 76 AMRAMs. Xplane 1972. Good to have you on board, buddy. I was just talking about you. The pressure's on now, right? I already made my excuse, though, for this landing. My joystick is sitting too high, so I don't have proper rest on my arm, so that's my excuse. Any good pilot, man, you got to make an excuse for your landing before you actually land. All right, here comes 10,000 feet. Let's get the lights on. Right, that's a better question. How many AIM-54s? Absolutely, right, that's right. I could see some ORBX down there. I asked you guys didn't want me to clear out the weather, so we're gonna look at some default clouds through the ORBX. It does look pretty good, though, even through the clouds there. Xplane 1972 says, "Hey V1, thanks for stopping by last night's stream." Thank you, man. No problem. I enjoy your content. You did a great job last night.
Turn left at Mike, contact ground point.
We're gonna do this multi-crew, man. I think we're gonna do a multi-crew flight. We're gonna have to do it. If you guys aren't familiar with Xplane 1972, he's a very good Airbus pilot. He's been following tutorials and instructional videos. He knows what's going on. He did a great job last night. Go check him out, Xplane 1972. I think we need a thumbs up if y'all want to see a multi-crew with me at Xplane 1972. I'll sit right seat. I'll work the radios. And Xplane's going to show me how to fly the airplane around. Let's get some thumbs up for that. Alright, back in the cockpit here. We are, what's our outside air temp? Is plus 11. So we don't need the ice. We're going to be okay. We're going to be, alright, let's pay attention to what's going on. That's 230, 8,000 feet, looks good. Where is, I'm looking for the parking gates. There we go.
American 412, contact Seattle approach 133.65.
33.65, American 412, we'll see it. Approach, good morning, American 412, 7.3, descending via the Hawks with information, Mike.
American 412, channel approach riser, descend to maintain 3,200.
Descend to maintain 3,200, American 412. Alright, we got 3,200. Let's go ahead. We're at descent unrestricted. We're going to go open descent. We're going to go ahead and select speed here at 230. So technically, by giving us that, we no longer need to comply with VASHN 6000 at 210. So we're going to go open descent, thrust idle. This restriction no longer applies to us. Hopefully we can get below these clouds and we can see some of that beautiful ORBX. Oh, Captain Geo says Xplane 1972, when he has a bad landing, he put it on the first officer. Oh, that's okay. That means he's a captain then. Ah, man. That's harsh. That's harsh. I remember one time As an FO, guys, I was flying for regionals. I came into Philadelphia on an Embraer 170, and man, did I slam it on. I was like, holy shoot. It was tough. The captain was like, well, why don't you go ahead and stand in the doorway and say goodbye to the passengers. Yeah, that was fun. That was fun. Alright guys, I'm going to go ahead and take a break from the comments for a second. We are getting close to the end here. I want to make sure we don't get unstable. So Seattle can bite you if you get lazy. So we're at 230 knots, 5.6, descending 3,200. Here comes the beautiful ORBX. This is ORBX. Let me get my monitors on my screens in the right position.
29 Albuquerque Center, descend via the Hydra 1 arrival, runway 8 transition, Phoenix, altimeter.
Hydra 1, he's going into Sky Harbor. Wonder who's flying that flight. Alright, we're 5.2, descending 3,000. Anvil is at 3,200, so that's why he's got us coming at 3,200. Let's take a look outside. Can we see? Oh! I do need to get rid of that transition view. We're almost out of the clouds. Here we go. Here we go. Here's some ORBX. And that looks good. That looks good. I'm going to go ahead and keep reducing speed and descending. So if you want to reduce speed and descend, pull for vertical speed, and then go ahead and dial in your speed. So what will happen is the aircraft is going to obey the vertical speed command, and it will try to get down to your selected speed. You can't really descend and go down in the Airbus, but if you want to try, the best method is using this vertical speed, like about 1,000.
Turn right, heading 070.
Right turn 070, American 412. Using that vertical speed and then selecting the speed that you want to go to. Alright, so he's turning it on to a base lake here. So we're going to come right back to 200. Let's come back to 180. Alright, so what we're going to do is we're going to sequence the box now. So we're going to go direct, Anvil, 345 outbound. Is that the final approach course? That doesn't seem right. 164? No, it should be 344. There we go. Insert that. Select heading so you don't intercept it. And now we have a nice extended final. Here comes VFE next, -10. Let's go flaps 1. I apologize for that transition there. The transitions are getting a little choppy, but here comes flaps 1. Let's take a look outside. That looks awesome. Alright, we're getting ready to come just on to 180 knots now. We're already at the final approach fix altitude. That looks good. On base at 180 knots. Here's VFE next.
412, 4 miles from Anvil, turn right heading 130. Maintain 3,200 until established localizer, cleared ILS runway 16 center approach.
Alright, 130 on the heading, 32 until established, cleared ILS 16 center approach, American 412. Alright, there's our approach clearance. Arm the approach, AP2, Cat 3 dual, autopilot 1+2, glide slope blue, lope blue. We are flaps 2, 180 knots. We are looking good. This is going to be the true benchmark test here, coming into Seattle with frickin' clouds, ORBX, the flight factor, and streaming. So we're going to test these new hardware out right now. Going to see how it performs. Then we might have to do some overclocking. But right now things are looking good. Things are looking good. We've intercepted the localizer, Lokestar. Our touchdown is going to be 430 feet, so 2,000 feet above touchdown. 2430, we'll call it 2,500 MSL is going to be our point that we are looking to manage up the speed. Let's make sure we activate it and confirmed. We are. Here comes the glide slope. Glide slope star. We can go ahead and set our go around altitude for this approach, the go around is actually 2,000 feet initially, so you don't fly into the arrivals. So we got 2,000 set.
November 800 Delta Whiskey, Denver Center.
Tower is going to be 19.9.
Reserve Delta Whiskey, Denver Center, squawk 2256 on ident.
There it is. Beautiful runway in sight already. Things are looking good.
2,500.
Great 00 Delta Whiskey, radar contact 28 miles northeast of the current EVOR, maintain flight level 360.
There comes 2,500 feet.
Tower 119.9.
19.9, we'll see American 412. Push for managed speed, gear down,
1729,
on the speed brakes,
8.65.
towers up, 19.9er. VFE next minus 10, flaps 3, tower good morning, American 412, ILS 16 center.
American 412, Seattle Tower, runway 16 center, clear to land, wind 2007.
16 center, clear to land, American 412. Alright, we've got our nose light into the takeoff position. We are cleared to land. VFE next minus 10. Here comes flaps 3. Oh, I'm sorry, flaps full. Landing checklist. Cabin crew advised. Auto thrust is
American
speed.
1729.
ECAM memo.
Expect ILS from
Landing all green. Landing check is complete. We are cleared to land. I'm going to go ahead and set up my track IR. Now let's go ahead and disconnect the autopilot. Cat 3 single, Cat 1. So Seattle kind of sits on a ridge. And you'll notice the radar altimeter is going to start barking at us, but it's actually a little bit incorrect because the runway sits down. It sits up, actually. It's like a platform.
American 1729, affirmative for the visual with the blanket. Actually, American 1729, I see what you're looking at. The new ATIS just came out. It's, expect runway 26.
500.
Stable and a landing.
100 above. 400.
There's our PLI. It dropped in, a pitch limit indicator for the go round. That's that yellow angle there on the PFD.
300. 200.
American 1729. Yeah, that'd be great. Clear direct to Aqua and resume the hider to
50,
arrival runway
40,
26 transition.
30, 20, retard, 10, 5.
Uncomfortable landing. Uh-oh. That's alright, reverse green. 1.14 G, that's not too bad. I look at that more than the foot per minute there. .70 knots, idle, manual brakes. We'll go to the next one.
American 412, turn left at November, cross runway 16 left, contact ground 0.7 on the other side.
Left turn November, clear across 16 left, and around on the other side, American 412. Stow the reversers. See, Xplane, 1972, I told you, man. You can fly this thing better than I can. 327 feet per minute, but this is what I like about this landing plug-in. I get G-load 1.14. Here's my height above threshold. That's 56 feet. Distance 1610, and then it said the CL, that's distance from center line, that's 56 feet. So I was almost right on that. You want to meet that mark, guys. If you're doing Airbus landing, you want to meet that 50 foot above threshold. So 56 feet, that is pretty good. We're cleared to cross all the way to the other side. We'll get a replay view too as well. We're leaving all our lights on, everything on until we get across here.
Northbound ground, Pipistrel 416 Julie Kilo.
Pipistrel 416 Julie Kilo, Northbound ground, go ahead.
You may have noticed I just disappeared. The sim crashed. This is the second time this has happened to me in about 2 or 3 days on Xplane on a Mac, which is unusual. So I'm just going to abandon it today, but I just wanted to. That's what happened.
6 Julie Kilo, that's no problem. I hope you have, hope it gets worked out for you. Sorry about that.
1217 it was. Ground, good morning, American 412. We just exited 16 left on November. We're going to, the gate over here on the right. Whatever it was. What was it? Bravo 11. And ground, American 412. We just exited 16 left in November, going to Bravo 11. We're after landing flow here. Oh, that's why. Get the right freak in there. And ground, American 412. We just exited 16 left in November, going to Bravo 11.
American 412, taxi to Bravo 11 via Bravo, and you can enter the ramp at spot 12.
Alright, enter the ramp, spot 12, Bravo 11, American 412. Alright, after landing check complete, spot 12, which is, they're at Whiskey. I think we're pretty much at spot 12. There's just a little bit further up. Alright, so I have to taxi through some baggage carts here to get to Bravo 11, but that looks very uncomfortable. Oh gosh, this hurts my eyes to actually taxi into these carts. Taxi light's coming off so you don't blind the rampers. Oh, this is so hard. It makes my stomach cringe. It's one of my worst fears is getting hit by a freaking baggage cart. Alright, here comes the line. Let's go ahead and cheat since we don't have a marshaller. There it is. We're in the gate. Brakes set. We can kill one. Let's go ahead and do this. We've got the best ground crew in the world. And 2 comes off. Wait for 10% N1. There it is. Beacon light comes off. Alright. Air engine 1 bleed, abnormal pressure. That's just a erroneous shutdown message. Alright guys, welcome to Seattle. I apologize that the ORBX scenery, we didn't really get to see much of it here. Let's go ahead and take a lift up and look around. This is ORBX Northwest. This is a default airport. But you can see Seattle in the background there. And the scenery is ever amazing. It's just really amazing, guys. It's huge. Like I said, it's about 200 gigs when it's fully said and done. But it looks awesome. We're going to have to come back and stream this area again on a clearer day so we can actually see some more wonderful features, but you can really see that it's really well done. So let's go ahead and do a replay view here with hopefully we can do this without crashing the sim. Let's go ahead and disconnect from Pilot Edge before we do that.
Disconnected.
Alright, let's go ahead and see if we can do this without getting a crash to desktop. So one thing I learned that is when I use my key bindings to switch views, I was getting those crashes. So hopefully we won't do that. Let's go to the runway. Oh, we're in a different runway. Watch from here. No sounds, unfortunately, in the Flight Factor 320 replay. That's another downside. While we're watching the replays and we get a little bit closer, I'm going to go through some of these comments here, guys. Apologize. All right, let me catch back up. John Crater, would you be willing to do multi-crew in the Mad Dog? Absolutely, man. Absolutely. There's an airport in Calvi with very interesting approach, to say the least. It would be nice to do a European flight for a change. You know what, Dimitri? I've been talking about it. I'm going to do like a V1 visits Europe. We're going to go fly around in Europe, and I'm going to subject myself to some charts and some procedures that I'm not very familiar with. I think that'll be fun. We'll do that. We'll do that together. I'm definitely going to do a European tour because I also have ORBX over there in the UK. Made me laugh. Yeah, it happens. Capcan stream about to begin. Link to scenery. I'll throw the link in the Discord. Or I'm sorry, I'll throw the link in the description here as soon as we close this up. How did I set the wing views? Well, I set them with the default Xplane camera system where you just press, I think it's left control or right control, and then the numpad for your key. Oh, that's the wrong runway. Why would you go there? I want to go to the runway. We have to wait till we get a little bit closer. Do you normally use auto brake low or medium? There's a good auto brake calculator on the internet for Xplane. Typically we use low. Medium is very rare to use medium auto brakes in any situation, unless we're going into Burbank, California, very short runway. Then that's definitely medium. Very rare to use medium auto brakes, but it does have its time and place. All right, here we go. Here we come. We wanted to use low for this stream because yep, I want to hear the BSS. Great landing. It was all right. We're gonna see how it is. We're gonna get a good look at the landing right here. Here we come over the threshold, 56 feet, right in the zone. Let's see the touchdown from this angle, and then we're gonna back it up. Oh, that wasn't too bad. Right on the freaking center line. A little bit right. I think it said I was 4 feet right or something. Let's go ahead and back it up. Much better than your landing in the Phoenix. All right. There we go. So when I say 50 feet above threshold, that's the runway threshold over here, guys. That's a window you got to meet. Your aircraft has to be down in the touchdown zone. So when we look at the runway here, just a quick overview, these are the 1,000-foot markers, these solid white ones over here. Those are your aiming points. Then you have your touchdown markers. You actually have a touchdown marker here. Whoops, touchdown marker here. And then you have, on this runway, you have two more. If your aircraft is not going to touch down in this zone, it is a mandatory go-around. So sometimes you got to give up that super buttery landing to be in the zone and have the proper landing, zone, because you don't want to end up going around because you're floating down the runway. So it's better to put it down and then have to go around. Put it down a little firm. All right, I'm going to try a view from inside. Now, this is normally what crashes my game. Yep. So I've been able to confirm if you're watching outside views and then I go to the inside views, I'm getting a crash with Xplane. So we're going to have to try to fix that. I trust your landing more on yours over mine any day. Appreciate 1972. Last update was in April 19. Get rid of having the flight factor. Good workaround. Instead of getting hit by a gun, did you hit them? Yeah, I sure did, Rutnut. Ever thought about doing ATC terminology tutorial? That's interesting. I might be able to do that. How quickly in real life do you connect to ground power arriving at the gate? Depends on how good the ground crew is. Sometimes they're right there standing by and they put it in. But sometimes, obviously, it takes a little while. But all right. I appreciate everybody joining. Can't even talk. That means I need to stop streaming. Appreciate everybody tuning in today. Had a lot of fun. Next time, hopefully, we'll have a little bit better weather for the ORBX scenery. All right, guys. Thank you so much. We will catch you all on the next one. I hope you all have a blessed day. Thanks for the donations and all the support. We'll catch you guys later.